Carlos and Jesus said before, we don't want to ask for less money than a professional would be paid, and we don't want to do volunteer work that should be paid and be done by professionals. Okay, we have already defined interpreting before. Okay, I think I've already also told you the difference between volunteer interpreting and public service interpreting and social commitment. So the BELS is not only a service provider. In fact, it isn't a service provider at all. The interpreters and the translators volunteer as activists. We belong to the forum. We're like one of the other parties, the other NGOs, the other organizations. The BELS is a network that participates actively in what they say also. That is, we don't only translate what they say, we participate, we say things. When there's a meeting, there's somebody representing the BELS there. And we fight specifically, well, for many things. There's a whole charter, a whole list of things that we do. But the most important ones are the ones that I like the most, and I've underlined here, are linguistic diversity. That is, that every language is represented, that anybody can understand what is said in a social forum in any language and can be understood or make himself or herself understood in any language chosen. Okay. Sometimes it's not their language, it's another one that they choose because of problems in finding the right translation or whatever. But we want everybody to be able to express themselves in the forum and to understand other people in the forum. And also, the volunteering behind the BELS is, as I said before, not because you want a free trip to Istanbul, but because you really care about volunteering and you believe in the principles. We always say to newcomers to the BELS, don't join us if you don't believe in our principles, because then, you know, problems start arising. You want a structure, you want a chief, you want somebody to be the boss, and we're horizontal. That's the next point I was going to explain. Horizontality, which I think I've translated badly. It's flat structure, what I mean. In Spanish, it's horizontalidad. So a flat structure, I suppose that you all know more or less what it is. Who can explain that? Nancy?
Well, it's not pyramid, it's just going this way, and people more, they share at the same level rather than having somebody to command them to do things or who feels an authority. Everybody is his own, her own authority and autonomous a bit.
We do have project coordinators, but that's different. And you can become a project coordinator whenever you want. You just grab a project and you you decide you're the coordinator, and so you help out and you make it happen. Which, I am not going to lie to you, can cause problems. It's not like an ideal thing. I'm not saying it's the best way to organize a network of 9,000 people. But it works for us. And some people within Babels will say that it doesn't work. And we're always having this discussion. Also, we have to reach a consensus before we implement any changes. And that is really difficult. Because people tend to disagree per se, you know. At least in Spain, I don't know about your countries, but in Spain people like disagreeing actively and just saying things. So it's not easy, but that's who we are. Please do read the principles, the charter principles of Babels and of the social forum before you join it, so that you don't have any surprises later. You know, I've only talked about 3 things here. It's also a political thing. It is a left-wing group of people getting together and talking. So, I mean, if I wanted to join the Nazi party, I would first read their program, you know. So be careful with that. Okay. I have to move this. Now I'm going to move on to training for social forum interpreting. We have been doing training in the bells since almost the start of the bells, especially a group of people who came from the University of Granada in the south of Spain, and they created teaching materials that started to be used in the 2003 social forum in Paris, and 2004 in London, 2005 I'm very sorry, and then in Athens 2006. Okay, so we started in 2003 with this. What was in it? They were called sit preps, and they were videos so that people could practice before getting into a booth. Why did we need this? Why didn't we just pick professionals and have them interpret? Because there is no money and there are not enough volunteer professionals. There are many volunteer professionals and they help out with the training. We always try to put a professional with a beginner in the booth so that they can help each other. But at first they realized in a meeting in 2004 that they needed training of some sort. And at first it was difficult to call it training because the professionals did not agree and we always have to reach a consensus in the bells. It was tricky, but in the end they created these materials and more or less before every social forum they started practicing with social forum videos, practicing interpreting. And then before the last one, before Malmö in Sweden, 2008, a group of people started also a project called Didactic Bells. It started before that in 2003, in 2006 in a meeting that we had in Paris, where a group of people got together and said, we're going to do something for the training of the bells. We're going to get together and do some sort of environment, teaching environment for training of interpreters. And I was there at that meeting. I was lucky to be there at that meeting. And we started working on that. Then right before the Malmö Social Forum, I started sending emails to some of the trainees, to the beginners, with instructions to tell them what they could do at home to practice. And that wasn't easy because sometimes they didn't receive the emails. It was all very tricky too. But we managed to have them practicing with the videos at home, and we call that Didactic Bells. There was a wiki too, a wiki website where you could do things. And then after the social forum in Malmö in 2008, I said, well, what do I do with all these things that I've written, all these emails? So I sort of edited them and asked a few friends to give me their opinion on what I had written. And I put it all together in an open courseware place. You know what open courseware is? It's like open source, but for courseware, where you share all your knowledge and it's open for people to see. And you can also change it and use it, but you quote the source. So that's what I did in the end. The video materials have been done in Granada, and I incorporated it to what I had written, and I quoted the source. And anybody else who feels that they can do something with it, they can also use it, because it's open. It's like free software, like copyleft. We're going to have a look at it. So it's here, and if you click on class resources, this is what we've done this morning. I'm not going to go back to everything we've done this morning with those of you who were in the workshop and interpreted. But if you ever want to have a look at it, you just go there, and there's the video and the transcription of the video. You have nice pictures of social forums. Well, not this one. Oh, here it is. And you can see a video. It takes a while. We'll see it later. The important thing that I wanted to do with this